sir. Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for your patience waiting through this. It's a process that we sometimes can't predict how long it's going to take. Before I turn your questioning over to the attorneys, I'd like to take care of a few matters. First of all is to swear you in so that all your answers are under oath. So if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will truthfully answer all questions about your qualifications to serve as a juror?
I do.
All right, thank you. We have plexiglass in front of you and between us. The lawyers will have plexiglass in front of them. I will keep my mask on with all those precautions. If you would like, either more comfortable or if you feel it's necessary to be able to be heard clearly, feel free to remove your mask. But I'm leaving that decision to you.
What's up,
If you feel more
Nagasaki?
comfortable with it on, please do so.
Okay.
In either case, I'd like you to make sure you're close enough to the microphone so that we can hear your voice clearly.
Hola,
Okay.
Johnny.
With that, you did fill out a questionnaire.
Hola, Luvia.
And thank you for doing so. There's a lot of good information in there. Is there anything on that questionnaire that you can think of right now that you might want to change, or was everything true?
As far as I know, everything is true.
Okay. Anything you want to add or amend at this point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Hard to remember what all was on there.
Right, and so far we've only had one juror who actually kept a copy of their questionnaire, so it's usually common you send it in and you've probably laid it aside in your mind as well for that.
Right.
The attorneys are pretty good about reminding you about certain questions and answers, and again, they're not being rude, they just want to refresh your memory. If there is anything that you want to change or add to, that's just fine. We realize that not only might you, on reflection, realize you need to add more information, or maybe even an opinion
can turn it up for you guys
in your questionnaire. Maybe it's evolved. So it's all right to say something that's different from what's in the questionnaire. Just want to get that out in the open.
Right.
Now, the questionnaire did advise you not to read any articles or pay attention to any media regarding this case. At the same time, we recognize that this questionnaire was given months ago, and maybe inadvertently you were exposed to a headline, or a friend talked to you about the case, or information about the case, some pretrial matters, or things about the participants in this case or their families, stuff like that. Is there anything about that that you have heard, and I'll assume it was just inadvertent?
Not other than, sometimes updates will come on over the radio, even on sports talk radio.
Okay,
And if I could tell that that's coming, I'd always would change the station or turn it off.
okay. Did you learn anything new about the case you didn't already know?
No.
All right. The important thing, obviously, is that you have to decide this case if you're a juror based only on what you hear in the courtroom. You have to put aside what you may have heard outside. It may not all be accurate in any case, but you have to put aside things you've heard outside the courtroom, and even any opinions that you have formed. It's okay to have those opinions. The question is, do you think, knowing yourself, you can put all that aside, both the opinions and what you've learned before, and decide the case just on the evidence you hear as a juror in this courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and in doing so, you have to follow the law that I give you. Can you do that, even if maybe you think the law is different or should be different?
Yes.
All right. We did give you a long list of witnesses. Did you recognize anybody on?
Not a single person.
All right. Did you recognize anybody in the courtroom?
No.
Okay. Now, we estimate that the trial will be about 4 weeks. Let's get that straight. Our best guess is that it's going to be 4 weeks. We have very experienced lawyers here who are pretty good at estimating, but delays happen. You've already seen that this morning.
Yep.
But on a 4-week trial estimate, do you think you could make that work as far as your personal life work, things like that?
I think I can. My only concern would be the start date. I
Okay.
currently have a trip scheduled for my wife's 40th birthday.
Okay. Well, what do you have scheduled?
A trip.
A trip.
Yep.
Where to?
Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
Oregon.
When is the travel time?
The 31st through April 4th.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem if you're
Yeah,
on the jury.
I assume so.
Is it movable? I'll just say that.
I think.
Not if he doesn't
yeah,
want
I
his
mean,
wife
I
to
think
kill
this
him.
takes precedence over that.
Okay. Well, for example, if it's like a family wedding that you're a part of,
Right.
that's not really movable by you.
No, it's nothing like that.
Okay. Well, the lawyers might ask you about that, but the question is, if it turns out you are on this jury and you do have to move it, is that gonna, like, bias you against one side or the other, or even against the court for making you do
No, not at all. I think I've already been prepared for that to happen.
that? Okay. All right. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Nelson regarding Juror 48. You may inquire.
What's up, Julius? Hi, Don. Wendy.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your patience here this morning and into the afternoon. So what I'm going to do, sir, is I'm going to ask you a series of kind of general questions just to get to know you a little bit more about you. And then I'm going to ask you some follow-up questions in terms of your questionnaire. We recognize that it's been a couple months since you filled it out. We don't expect you to remember everything, but ultimately we do want to make sure you're the right juror, okay? All right. So if you and I were to meet in a social situation and we're introduced to each other, what are a couple of things that I'd learn about you in that conversation?
Easygoing, got a good sense of humor, got wife and kids at home, and some military experience.
Okay. How long did you serve in the military?
8 years.
And which branch?
I did Army Reserve.
Okay. And were you like in the enlisted side of things, or were you in the officer side of things?
Enlisted.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your service. You got a jury questionnaire ultimately in the mail.
Yep.
What was your reaction when you first got that?
Surprised to get it. It's the first time I've ever been called up. And then to see the names at the top was pretty eye-opening.
Okay. What do you mean eye-opening?
I just knew it's gonna be a big case. I knew there's gonna be lots of media around it. By the time of receiving that, there'd already been some of the events taking place downtown. So just those types of things.
Okay. So you had heard about the case, you were obviously aware of the significance of the case, and it was kind of an eye-opening experience, I think you said. Okay. I see from your questionnaire that you are in management. Again, not asking like where you work, we know that information, but you are like a manager in your
Yep.
work, right? So can you think of a situation, again, whether it be professionally or personally, where you have been called upon to resolve a conflict between two people?
Yeah, there's been several times.
Sure. And so what is your general process of approaching how you resolve conflict?
I think you need to always get both sides of the conflict, understand where they're both coming from, and then try, if you can't work out a resolution with both of them at the same time, you might have to pull one in at a time and work it out that way.
Okay. And I mean, and conflict takes kind of a variety of forms, right? Sometimes it's actual physical conflict, and sometimes it's more interpersonal. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
And not all conflict results in the need to solve it, right?
Right.
Okay. But some types of conflict, would you agree, require you to ascertain who's telling the truth about a certain circumstance?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And how do you approach that decision-making process?
I mean, I think you've got to use your best instinct. Some previous experience may come at play. You can rely on other sources for information, witnesses. Nowadays, there's often a trail on the, through email or text messaging, depending on the type of case.
Okay, so you look for other evidence, talk to other witnesses, and then make your determination based on that?
Yes, that's correct.
Is there like a measure of how much evidence that you need in order to make a decision?
I guess it comes down to how the source of the evidence, how sound it is, how trustworthy it is. That plays a big part of it.
Okay. Can you think of a situation in your life where you've been 100% certain that you were right about something only to later discover you were wrong?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay. Your role as a juror in this case, should you be selected, is to be a judge of the facts, right? You have to decide what happened, who to believe, etc. Kind of the process that you described. Do you think you can do that?
Yep, I think I can.
Okay. You understand that, we all understand that pretty much every single person who's come in here has some knowledge of this case.
Yes.
And you yourself have learned certain things about this case, right?
Correct.
You're not, you've been exposed to some media, you've had conversations with friends, family members about this, right?
Yes.
Considering everything you've known and learned about the case, are you able to look at this case only based on the evidence as is presented in court? Can you
Yes.
set all that? Okay. You can set all of that other stuff aside.
Yep.
Okay. So
Sorry.
one of the other things that will happen in this case is that you would be given a set of instructions as to the law that the judge would give you. And would you be able to read those instructions and apply that law even if you think the law is wrong or should be changed?
Yeah.
You're willing to follow the judge's instructions?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions about your questionnaire. The first question that is asked is just to give us some detail about what you knew about the case, right? And you indicated that you had seen one edited video on the local news playing in the background. What do you mean by edited?
I believe I saw it on Fox 9 News.
Okay.
And just with seeing what was going on and hearing the report, I just would assume they're not going to show the whole thing due to the graphic nature and that it being a publicly televised show during normal viewing hours.
Okay, so I guess you mean like a clip, like a shorter clip of
Right.
a longer video.
Right.
Okay. And you don't mean that it was like altered to change faces
No,
or anything?
no,
Okay.
not altered, maybe just cut short.
Okay. And so you're aware that like a bystander took a video and that video went viral and that's kind of what precipitated all of the media attention,
Yep.
right? Have you seen that video in its entirety?
I don't believe so.
Have you ever gone on the internet and searched to see that video in its entirety?
I've never seeked it out specifically, no.
Okay. Have you seen any other videos associated with this case?
It's hard to say if I've seen other ones. It may have been the one that was originally on the news, but the full version or extended version.
Okay. So there were other videos that were released into the public sphere, including some like body worn cameras from the police officers or some security from neighboring businesses. Do you recall ever seeing any of those?
I do not.
And ultimately what you say is, I'm aware of the outcome, but I do not know what led to it or how, if it was escalated. So by aware of the outcome, what do you mean?
I'm aware that it resulted in the death of a gentleman.
Okay. And, but you ultimately say you didn't pay much attention to the events that followed as you don't follow or watch much news.
That's correct.
You have had some conversations with family members and things of that nature.
Yep.
And did you talk about the events with like coworkers?
I didn't actually discuss it at work
Okay.
a whole lot, just because I work in a very diverse field and my team's very diverse, and you never know how certain people are going to react to it. So I just found it best to, avoid that subject at work.
Okay.
Also, being in a lockdown helps that because there's not a whole lot of people at work to begin with.
Sure. Did you talk about it with your family members?
I discussed it with my wife several times.
Okay. And you wrote in here that you tried to explain to your kids why people were so upset?
Yeah, to the best that I could.
Okay. And your kids are younger, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you talk about it with like your friends?
It may have come up once or twice. With the pandemic going on, we don't see friends a whole lot.
Right. So you
never get online?
I guess in terms of explaining to your kids why people were so upset, was that more in reference to like the rioting and looting that happened later, or the specific event of the death of Mr. Floyd?
I would say it was more to the rioting and the looting. We would be trying to watch, like, for example, Wheel of Fortune, and then all of a sudden it would cut to that stuff going on, and then you have to explain that to kids.
Gotcha.
Don't mess up my Wheel of Fortune.
You were asked your opinion of both Mr. Chauvin as well as Mr. Floyd. You indicated with respect to Mr. Chauvin that you had a neutral opinion of him, and you say it's hard to know what you would do in that situation, very high stress and very quick. Do you recall saying that?
Yes.
And can you explain what you mean a little bit more by that?
Well, having been in the military, it's easy for bystanders to say how they would handle a situation.
Okay.
It's completely different when you are in it for real. You're actually in a battlefield. Not that this was a battlefield, but in today's age, there's always somebody with a camera. There's always somebody watching you, recording you. So I can understand those are a lot of added pressures to a situation like this.
Okay. You were also asked your opinion of Mr. Floyd, and you said it was somewhat positive and that it seemed like he was generally liked, right?
Yep.
Have you learned any more information about Mr. Floyd since filling this out? And I'm not asking you like if it changes your opinion, or does it?
No, I really haven't learned any more about him.
Okay. Question number 9 in the first section asks you whether you believe your community has been negatively or positively affected by any of the protests that have taken place in the Twin Cities area since George Floyd's death. And you wrote, it seems a little of both. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I think it's brought to some people a sense of community. You've got people from different cultures and ethnic backgrounds rallying together, trying to talk about subjects we normally avoid. But then there's also the negative side with, the results of the looting and the destruction.
Do you think that those two are linked together? Like are the protests different than the looting and riots?
I think, unfortunately, they get blended together. I think there's peaceful protests and that turn, violent, I guess you would say. And I don't think it's necessarily always the people that are being peaceful. It's just, anybody can turn a situation.
Right. So you would agree that people who were protesting may not be responsible for the looting?
Correct.
And you would agree, let me ask you. Again, ultimately, what we're looking for, and we don't know what's in people's hearts and minds, we have to take you at your word. It seems to me the ultimate question is, with all of everything you know about this case and have learned about this case, and your personal opinions and backgrounds and things of that nature, can you set all of that aside and be a fair and impartial juror, basing your decision only on the evidence as it's presented in court?
I believe I can, yes.
Okay. We have to know, can you, or do you just think you can?
Yes, I can.
Now, you indicated that you don't watch much news because you find it to be too negative.
That's correct.
Why? I mean, how often do you think you watch the news?
It's on in the background in our house, often around like dinner preparation. So I'll catch glimpses of it here and there, but I don't go out of my way to watch it because typically, no matter what outlet you're watching, we're covering the negative things and the bad stuff happening.
Okay. And so that's why you choose not to watch it or pay much
Correct.
attention? So you were asked a series of questions. There were a series of statements that were made on this, and you were asked to kind of rank your opinion from strongly agree to strongly disagree, the spectrum, right? So I just kind of want to follow up and ask you a few questions about your choices. You were asked, discrimination is not as bad as the media makes it out to be, and you somewhat agreed with that. Can you explain why you somewhat agreed with that statement?
Can you read it again? Sorry.
Sure, it's a weird sentence,
Yeah.
we know, but discrimination is not as bad as the media makes it out to be.
Yeah, I guess I would have responded the way I did just because I feel like I had just said earlier, we often cover negative stories. We often focus on the negative stuff. That's what gets the views. That's what draws the attention.
Okay. Do you think that discrimination occurs?
Yeah, I do.
There was a statement that says blacks and other minorities do not receive equal treatment as whites in the criminal justice system, and you somewhat disagreed with that. Can you explain that?
It's just based on personal experience. I've never witnessed or seen anybody be treated any different than I was.
Okay. Now, you indicated there was a statement that police in my community make me feel safe, and you somewhat agreed with that. Why somewhat agreed?
I see their presence. They're out and about quite a bit.
Okay, so they make you feel safe.
Right.
But you didn't strongly agree, so is there some concern you have over police departments or police officers?
No.
You were asked about defunding, the statement is, I support defunding the Minneapolis Police Department, and you somewhat disagreed with that. Can you explain that?
I personally don't fully understand what that would mean to us. And I think a lot of other people that ask for that to happen don't understand fully what the ramifications would be.
Okay. The statement here is that because law enforcement officers have such dangerous jobs, it is not right to second guess the decisions they make while on duty. And you checked somewhat agree on that. Can you explain what your thinking was there?
It's along the lines I said earlier. As civilians, we don't know how they're trained to handle certain situations. We don't always know what led up to a situation. And when you're under a microscope all the time, they have the body cameras on 24/7. it's hard to know how people would handle those situations.
Okay. Would you agree that there are certain circumstances that police do need to be, their actions and decisions do need to be looked at?
Yes.
And if that happens, if police officers are second guessed in their decisions, are you okay with that happening?
I think it can be good to at least open that discussion
Okay.
if the situation calls for it.
Okay. You were asked questions regarding your opinions on the Black Lives Matter movement and the Blue Lives Matter movement, and your answer to both was the same. It was neutral. And you write the same response, which was, I was raised to respect everyone, so I cannot really relate. I mean, can you explain a little bit more about how you feel about that?
I mean, I just think that they all do matter. You know, I think all lives matter. Sometimes people saying that is taken the wrong way. I do agree that Black Lives Matter. I do agree that the Blue Lives Matter. You know, I think if you really wanted to get crazy, you could pick any race, ethnicity, or profession and put the word matter after it, and you'd find a group of people that support it.
Okay. You were, again, in the Army, and you, were you in like military policing, or were you in like the infantry?
I was attached to a maintenance company.
Okay. And it looks like your wife attended the Minnetonka Citizens Academy. Is that like a general, like kind of like a police academy type thing, or what is that?
Yeah, it was kind of a joke in our house that we call it Police Academy, but it's citizens can sign up for it, and if you make it all the way through and pass, I believe you can volunteer then as like a citizen police officer.
Okay, like traffic control and kind of stuff.
Yeah, like help police an event, like a parade or things like that.
Gotcha. And generally speaking, you believe that the criminal justice system works?
I think generally speaking, yes.
And because there was a series of questions about, you know, your views on the presumption of innocence, your views on proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and you said you would have no problem applying those.
Yes, sir.
Do you still agree with that today?
Yes, sir.
Now, the last question that you were asked is, do you want to serve as a juror in this case? And you indicated not sure. It could be high profile and become stressful. Do you have concerns about serving as a juror in this case?
I mean, I think there's concerns about the security around it, the aftermath, and just, you know, the safety of my family comes first and foremost.
Okay, so let me just kind of break that down a little bit, because I forgot to ask you earlier. What did you think when you got to the Hennepin County Government Center today and saw the preparations that were taking place?
A little of both. It's impressive. It's like a fortress, but also intimidating.
Okay. Why is it intimidating?
Just, you know, to have a gate opened up with armed guards. You know, I haven't seen that in many years since I was in Iraq, and now to have it right in your backyard like that, was definitely eye-opening.
Okay. When you learned that we're trying to protect your anonymity and keep you just listed as a number, does that help alleviate any of those concerns?
I think that helps. You know, I think it helps too. We've been informed nobody can see us. I would even argue it'd be nice if people couldn't even hear us. But I think so far the precautions that have been taken are pretty impressive and seem like they're doing a good job.
Now, ultimately, and we don't know if or when, but your name could be released publicly. Would you be concerned about that?
I guess there'd always be a little bit of concern about that. But again, that just comes down to protecting my family and taking care of them.
Okay. If I may have a moment here.
You know, I think he's even wearing a double mask because when he pulled it down the other time, you could see the other mask below it. Let me see if I can get some better quality. It's not high def, is it? Oh, they're not talking. Auto 720. Oh, I guess they're only filming it in 720. What do you guys think they're talking about? Ooh, you know what? I just started watching this, so I don't know if that's defense or prosecution, to be honest with you.
We'll pass the call.
So sure.
So they're going to be a jury. Passing means,
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Juror 48.
Good afternoon.
I want to follow up a little bit on your military service. You were attached to a maintenance company. Was it with the 88th?
Ultimately fell underneath the 88th, yes.
Okay. And so before you mobilized and deployed, it was in 2005, did you go through, did you process through Fort Snelling? Did you SRP through Fort Snelling?
Yes, we went through Fort Snelling and then ultimately through Fort McCoy.
Okay. Was there ever a time during you probably were processed or SRP'd a number of times before you actually deployed?
Yeah.
Did you ever go through over at Fort Snelling station to station in which you would have done a will?
You mean like a living will, or?
Right. Remember, you would have gone to all these different stations, the medical
okay,
station.
what does that have to do about it?
You know, having to check all the blocks, the form, and eventually visit legal.
Yeah, I don't remember if we did that step.
Before you actually deployed, you would have done that. You just don't know if you did it at Fort Snelling or Fort McCoy?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm not getting his questioning.
And then you went through Fort McCoy. How long were you there before you actually shipped out?
We were at Fort McCoy, I want to say 8 to 12 weeks.
Training?
Yep.
And then directly from there to Iraq?
Then we went to Kuwait, staged there for, I want to say 1 to 2 weeks, and then we all dispersed to different parts of Iraq.
And you were an NCO?
I was a sergeant, E5.
That's not that. That's pretty high, isn't it? E5.
Thank you. You were in a reserve unit. You have indicated you don't have any specific familiarity with the defendant.
No, that's correct, I do not.
If you were to find out that the defendant also served in the military, do you think that might have an effect on your opinion of him?
No.
Do you ever refer anyone for possible non-judicial punishment or?
have any involvement with military justice issues during the year you deployed?
No.
I believe this is the prosecutor. If I'm
I
guessing.
want to shift gears a little bit to discussions that you indicated that you had with your children after the death of George Floyd. And you indicated that you tried to explain to your kids why people are so upset. You recall that?
Yes.
Do you recall what your explanation to your children as to why people were so upset was?
I think I just tried to explain to them that something happened that a lot of people didn't agree with, maybe what happened or how it happened, and you know, they gather as a group to try and let people know how they feel. Again, this is me trying to explain it to young kids, so trying to break it down to their level that they can sort of make sense of it.
And so your explanation to young children is that people were upset and so they were gathering to express that.
Right.
Okay. Did you talk to them about the property damage? I know you indicated that those images were kind of...
Well, I just think if that question came up, you know, I would try to explain people were gathering to kind of demonstrate what they believed in peacefully, but there's always some people that can take advantage of that situation, and then things like that can occur.
Oh yeah, Evi's pretty good then, huh?
Now, have you had much close contact with law enforcement?
No. I have a distant cousin whose wife is a police officer in Wisconsin, and then a cousin who is an officer in Illinois, but I don't see them very often. I wouldn't consider myself, you know, extremely close to them by any means.
And obviously you were in a maintenance company and you weren't working in a military police capacity.
Correct.
But you did indicate that, you know, in that situation, you know, you received specific training that maybe to a passerby, if they saw something that had happened when you were downrange, that they may have questioned. Fair?
What's the question?
Well, that a passerby who hasn't been trained, like you were trained before you went downrange, I mean, they really wouldn't understand exactly what they were seeing if they saw you interact with someone in a particular way.
Correct.
Job, right? And so, you know, were they to be in a position to second guess you, would you expect that they would have to receive some kind of training or get some sort of information to have a basis?
Absolutely.
From what you described in the case, it doesn't sound like you really had a very extensive look at the video. Is that true?
Yeah.
You did describe what happened as being very quick, high stress and very quick. Can you please describe a little bit more thoroughly what you mean by that? Like what was quick?
Well, I just think the whole situation, it seemed like, you know, I don't know what led up to it. So it seemed like it escalated quickly. I guess the high stress I'm referring to is, you can easily see in the video, there's a crowd gathering around, people yelling, people recording, and all the while, you know, there's police on the scene as well trying to maintain control of it. That's a pretty high stress situation.
Yeah. And the people who are around and yelling, would your expectation be that maybe they hadn't had the training or the information to really understand the context of what was going on?
Yeah, I could agree with that, yes.
Whereas someone who was trained, another officer, may have had, they'd be looking at the same event but through a different lens.
Yes, correct.
In a situation like that where you have two different people observing some events that happen, one who has had the training, so whether it's military training, police training, medical training, versus a bystander who you don't know if they had training or not, and they were describing this event to you, do you think you would tend to believe one person's account more than the others? So would the trained person's account have more credibility to you than just some bystander?
I don't know that I would give them more credibility. I think I would want to understand the two different perspectives of what led up to it and what they think they saw.
And when you say they, we're talking about both people. Let's say they're witnesses. Let's say they're
Correct.
witnesses in this trial and you're seated as a juror.
Yep.
Right? You might have occasion to hear a description of what happened from a law enforcement officer or someone who viewed footage, right?
Yep.
A trained law enforcement officer. Or you may hear an account from a bystander. Which person do you think is, given the answers you've given us thus far, that you would believe more? A bystander or a law enforcement officer?
Well, I think both of their accounts should have the same value. They're seeing the same thing, telling you the same thing. The only difference is their previous experience and or training may change how they describe that situation to you.
And so, do you believe that you would credit the testimony if you have two witnesses, one a law enforcement officer, the other a passerby, that you would credit the passerby's testimony with equal weight as the law enforcement officer?
If they're testifying what they saw, yes.
What other contexts could you imagine?
Well, I would imagine they could bring different perspectives, not just to what they saw, but how it was being handled. Passerby could say they saw somebody being, pinned down or held down, whereas a police officer may use different verbiage, saying he saw somebody trying to be detained or being restrained.
And so they may describe the same events, but just using different words?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you indicated, I believe earlier, when describing the events and the high stress of the situation, that in your view, the passersby or the bystanders may have added to the stress of the situation.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little further?
Well, I think anytime a crowd gathers, that can make people uncomfortable and raise the stress level. Then when you add in people maybe yelling things at you, and then all of a sudden you're being recorded, that can raise the stress levels.
Now, on the issue of being recorded, can you describe, how that might raise one's stress level if you know you're being recorded?
I just think it's human nature that you can get an elevated stress level knowing you're being recorded or watched per se. I guess an example would be you and I having this conversation in a closed door office with nobody else would be less stressful than having this conversation with a courtroom full of people.
And say broadcast?
Exactly.
Sure. Do you think that, just given what you've shared with us about how you think that, people in the crowd, the bystanders, may have contributed to the stress of the situation, that might be in your mind as you're listening to these very people testify in court?
What exactly is the question?
So imagine one of the bystanders who you are saying, in your opinion, they contributed to the stress of the situation. Imagine the state calling one of those people as a witness and they're testifying. Do you think that your view of them, that they actually contributed to the stress of the situation, maybe
He's
fair to
definitely
say
the
made
prosecutor.
things worse? Do you think that that would be in your mind as you're hearing them testify?
I don't think so. I think I would be mostly paying attention to what they claim they saw happened.
So, stated another way, do you think you might hold it against them? Do you think you might hold your opinion that the witness who's testifying actually contributed to the stress of the situation and made it worse? Do you think you would hold it against them as they
No.
testify?
No, sir.
And you can be sure of that, 100%.
Yes.
You discussed earlier too, no, I'm sorry. I want to follow up on the question. You responded that you somewhat agree with the proposition that because law enforcement officers have such dangerous jobs, it's not right to second guess decisions that they make while on duty. And as you know, this case involves decisions and choices that were made by law enforcement officers while they're on duty. And you somewhat disagree that they should be questioned about those decisions. And so I'd like to ask you how you believe accountability and review should be handled. Would it be better handled in a civil or employment setting and not in criminal court?
I mean, I think it depends on the severity of the case you're talking about. If it's something to the extent of this, I think it should be looked at from a higher level like we're currently doing. If it's, something much smaller, if we're talking of like a traffic stop or something like that, I don't know that it requires this kind of attention and all of the event details that led up to it.
We would hope not for a routine traffic stop unless something went horribly, horribly wrong.
Correct.
But in this case, as the court told you earlier, the charge is murder. And you would be asked, if you sat as a juror in this matter, to determine whether or not an officer in the line of duty, based on decisions they made, had committed a murder. And what I need to ask you, given your statement that you somewhat agree that law enforcement officers should not be second-guessed for decisions they make in the line of duty, how difficult would it be for you to return a guilty verdict on the charge of murder for the decision a law enforcement officer made in the line of duty?
I think it depends on all of the evidence and knowing all of the events that led up to it.
And knowing all the events that led up to what?
That would help make the right decision for that. I think anybody can see a 10-second clip of something and make their own judgment, but if they know the full story that led up to it, what caused it, how we got to that second clip, it may open it for more question.
And if the government then, if the state met its burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt all of the facts that would be required to render a guilty verdict for the charge of murder, would it still be difficult for you, to return that verdict, given your views of law enforcement and the kind of discretion and deference they should be given for decisions they make in the line of duty?
I don't think so, no. If we're proving something beyond a reasonable doubt, absolutely not.
One moment, Your Honor.
All right, let me see if I can. We'll do this. Pop it up. Until they.
And sir, I'd like to follow up just briefly on some concerns that you had, regarding safety and safety of your family. Do you believe that, based on the measures that are in place, and knowing that at some point, there would be disclosure of your name at some point in the future, do you still have those concerns for your family and their safety?
I think there's always going to be a concern to some extent, yes.
And then the question would be is, given that, and that's perfectly understandable, would those concerns weigh on you during the trial itself? Would you be thinking about those concerns, during the course of this trial if you were seated?
No.
You'd be able to put those concerns for your family's safety out of your mind and devote yourself wholly to the evidence?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your time and coming in today. Thank you very much. Your Honor, the state will strike.
He's gone.
Juror 48, you'll
She
be
gone.
released from this panel. In fact, released from jury service for this term. So you only have to worry about coming back if you get a summons sometime in the future.
Okay.
Deputy will collect some stuff on the way out. Thank you for all your good questions or good answers that you put here. We really appreciate your candor and honesty. Thank you.
Next.
We're going to take our mid-afternoon break at this time. Let's come back at 3:15. Council briefly in chambers.
So that's a 20-minute break. Oops, I keep playing this. But you know what that means? So then, I was going to only play a portion of this movie. This video, we'll watch the whole thing then. We got time. So what this is the video of in 2019 when George Floyd was arrested in 2019. It's a 60-minute long video, so that'll take us right to the next when they come back. So let's watch this. Let me. Oh, it is unmuted. I guess there's no sound to it. That's weird. You would think there'd be sound to it. Oh, you know why? Because sound only starts when they hit the button, huh? I think. I'm guessing. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he pushed the button.
What are you? 41 traffic.
132 on Bush. I got him at gunpoint. What TV show?
It'll be Olson Memorial Highway in James with an unlicensed red Ford Explorer.
Yeah, the sound is on now, guys.
Tell him to move up. How are you doing? Can you undo your seatbelt, sir? Sir, passenger, can you undo your seatbelt? Go ahead and undo your seatbelt. Please, I don't want to get shot. I don't plan on shooting you. I'm just saying, just take your time. I ain't never seen her. Okay, relax. Just undo your seatbelt. Let her take care of her guy. Just keep your hands out where I can see him. Hey! Let me... Keep your hands where I can see them. Okay? Put them up on the dash. Put them on the dash. I'm not going to shoot you. Put your hands on the dash. Put your hands on the dash. The last time I'm going to tell you that. It's simple. He keeps moving his hands around. He won't listen to what I have to say.
Put your hands on top
Okay?
of your head.
Put them on your head.
Top of your head.
Okay, man.
Open your mouth. Spit out what you got. Spit out what you got. I'm gonna tase you. Spit it out. He's eating all
Don't you
kinds
jerk
of
away
stuff.
from me.
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay, now slowly come on out.
Hand
Now put your
hand under your head. Hands underneath your back.
Okay, relax then. You're not going to get beat up or nothing if you just follow what we're asking you to do.
I apologize, man. I apologize, man. I apologize.
Yeah. Here, come on over here. What do you got there? Slow down.
Tell her I ain't gonna do it like that, boss man. Tell her I'm gonna do it like that, boss man. Please tell her I'm gonna do it like that. I thought you was just playing. I don't do it, boss. I don't do it like this, man. Goodness, man, I'm telling my mama, man. My mama, man. My
Yeah,
mama,
let's
man,
pop.
please, man.
Come on, lean back.
I'm not gonna do anything more, boss.
What do you got there?
It's mine right there.
Huh?
It's mine.
That's just my
Hey,
ass.
pull back a second.
Why y'all doing me like this, man?
What do you got there?
Man,
What do you got there?
please, man, 'cause I got my paper.
I got something in here. He's got...
Take me to my car, man.
Hang
Please,
on.
man. Please, somebody help me,
Hang
man.
on.
Oh, my God, man. Damn, man.
Crying like a
anything-
little
Go
bitch
ahead, listen,
already.
man. Let's go. I got rough and stuff like this, man.
Yeah,
Act like a man.
No, man, y'all wrong, man.
Was there anything in it?
Yeah, it's a bunch of pills.
Okay.
Pills on you.
I don't know pills on me.
All right.
I don't know pills on me. I take
Pills
pills.
on your pants. One that just drops right there.
Oh, that's a nice looking cop.
I said I can tell you, boss.
No, this is.
I'm at with it. I can get the bottle.
Hold on.
I can take the bottle with me, man.
So just so you guys know, this is from 2019. This is not the one that they're. This is not the one that they're doing the court trial for.
Whatever y'all need. Whatever y'all do, I can do it, man. Man, man.
You want? He's got a whole bunch of cash on him too. So if you want to get an envelope, I'll put that in there. Hey, relax.
I work, man. I'm a boss, man. I'm working down his door, man. They don't take my money, man.
I am saying about taking your money. I'm pulling it out right now.
I got a whole bunch of bills on me. I'm a damn doctor, man.
Yeah, this is George
Most
Floyd
has something in his car.
back in 2019.
I play ball, man. I gotta have medication, man.
Okay. All right.
I got to, man.
Dude, quit crying.
No, I didn't get it, man. That ain't right, man. I'm just gonna grow up, man. That ain't the way y'all do that, man. Y'all must be
Have a
bad,
seat in here.
man.
Have a seat.
Y'all must be so bad, man.
Have a seat.
Let's take this one.
Have a seat.
All
All the way in. I gotta get all the way in there. Slide on over. I know you're a big man. You're gonna have to slide in.
It's you, man.
You're gonna have to slide in. You didn't have any ID on him. Yeah.
That's a good-looking officer. But who drives around with no license plate with drugs on him? I mean, come on. How stupid can you be?
There's a bunch of stuff in here. Bunch of powder, bunch of, I don't know what exactly all it is in there.
That was on
Bunch
his
of
seat.
pills. Yeah, it was on his seat where he was. Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna grab this for now. I was looking for some ID, and then this was. Just keep this. That was on the seat. I don't know what's all.
The passenger seat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your ID in here at all? Is your ID in here?
When's your birthday?
A lot of cash in there too, it looks like.
I'm just gonna see if there's any ID here real quick and we'll just take it back. See George?
Yeah.
You George Floyd?
Yep.
Date of birth 10/14/73?
Is that in the bag?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he does, huh?
Let's keep it all together for now. Put it. Whatever.
Alright, now putting it in the car like that isn't that a bad thing? Don't you need to keep it out until you bag it and tag everything? I'm just trying to make sure that they're not gonna screw up the case by... Unless this case doesn't matter, does it? Never
Was
mind.
this another guy then? Was this his? Yeah, I know. I was just getting off the hood, so I went. You want me to take the truck back and we'll just search it? I got a whole bunch of stuff in this right here for now.
Yeah, he was eating it and everything.
Well, he can't eat all that. He was whatever. I know.
There's pills. You want to take pictures of this now or wait?
We'll just wait. I got the one thing. We got enough pills and different other
There's
stuff.
like 4 right there. And then
Yeah, I'll just take it on back and
there's codeine.
yeah,
All right, take it back and just leave it like that.
yeah. We'll leave it like that. Take photos, everything, and
It was in March, wasn't it? 2020? Okay, why is he moving it?
Yeah.
They're just gonna drive the truck? That's weird. I guess have a tow truck do it?
George, listen to me. Listen to me. I need you to relax. We are not going to jail right now, okay? So I need you to relax. Okay?
I still don't understand why the other cop's driving the car, why it's not being towed. And what they're even doing. This is weird. This could mess up a case, couldn't it? Oh, they're taking it right, but I still don't understand why they're driving it to the police station instead of having it towed into property. Can they actually do that? That's possible, Tommy.
George, relax.
No, I'm not in the back of a cop car.
When was the last time you were arrested? George. When was the last time you were arrested?
Why? No, we're watching a video from George Floyd. Proud.
Look at me. George.
Why did everybody call me today? Hello? I'm sorry, there hasn't been a plumbing company here for a long time. I keep getting a phone call. You're good. Thank you. Bye.
You want them both right now?
Yeah, take them both in there and I'll give Scotty a hand or whatever.
Alright, George, step up.
I tell you what, I'd let this officer arrest me though. She's kind of hot.
Come on.
I bet you those drugs are kicking in by now.
Yeah, I got him.
Hang on 1 second.
We had the driver, you guys had the passenger.
Correct.
Yeah, I took photos. I got bags, gloves, and stuff on the dash there, Sergeant. I took those photos, those tablets, so you can recover those. What's that? What kind of whatever. Let's chill out. See, you're making a big thing out of nothing. Okay? There's gonna be someone who's gonna come talk to you. Watch your step now. Going down. Come on, let's go.
I gotta go get the door, guys. I'll be back. I'll be a little bit. I'll get my new scooter.
Like I said, you're not making, at this point, it's not a big deal. You're making it bigger than it is. Wait until you find out what's going on before you start getting all upset. This would go great. We'll do left here.
Keep going.
Come on in here. Come on over here and have a seat. Hold that up for a second. Come on over here and have a seat right here.
Alright, guys. Sorry, they're here delivering my temporary scooter.
Alright.
I gotta find my key ring. Son of a bitch, where's my keys?
Bring your hand around front. Have a seat. Sir, put your arms in there. Let me have your other hand.
Oh, it's going. Oh, it stopped already? That was 16 minutes? Alright, guys. Good thing I came back in. I'm gonna put you back on the court video, but there's nothing going on. But I gotta go handle this with the oh wait, they are back at me. That's weird. I gotta find my keys. How did I lose my keys in like an hour last night? All this unpacking I was trying to do. Hope everybody's cool, chilling. We're still here. I had my keys when I came in the house.
How you doing, sir?
Now they're talking to you. There you guys go.
Uh,
Oh, there they are.
let me just, you are juror number
49.
49. Well, thank you, first of all, for being here and for your patience.
All right.
It's kind of an imprecise process, but hopefully I was glad we were able to get to you before the end of the day, not have to send you back and come back Monday. Before I begin this process, a couple things. I'm going to swear you in so that all your questions are, or your answers are under oath. So if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will truthfully answer all questions regarding your qualifications to serve as a juror?
Yes.
All right, thank you. First thing I'm going to ask you about, well, actually, you'll note that we have plexiglass in front of you and to the side and between us. I'm going to keep my mask on since we are fairly close. The attorneys will have plexiglass in front of them. But I think with that layer of protection, if you would wish, either for comfort or to make yourself heard more clearly, you can remove your mask if you'd like. There you go. Okay. But please stay close to the microphone so that we can all hear you. The first thing I'm going to ask you about is the questionnaire. First of all, thank you for filling out the questionnaire. We appreciate you putting time into that. Is everything that's on the questionnaire true?
Yes.
All right. Sometimes, since it was filled out months ago, you may in reflection think, I should have put that on, or maybe even an opinion has evolved and it's changed. Is there anything you can think of just off the top of your head that you wanted to comment in that regard?
Well, I don't remember all the questions, so
Right.
It's like 2 months ago when I filled it out.
Right.
So,
And I guess my point is the attorneys will be asking you probably more specific about questions, and they'll refresh your memory by saying what your answer was,
okay.
and then maybe asking you to comment on it. My point being, feel free that if it's changed, if your opinion has changed, that you volunteer that. You're not going to get in trouble by it changing or being amended. All we're looking for are the honest answers, and sometimes you realize in listening to the question again that you had more information or different. And maybe an opinion that's contained in there. Maybe you've changed your opinion. In either case, the whole point is that what we're trying to do is to make sure that we understand what you've been exposed to so far and what opinions you might hold. And the major question is, can you put all that aside? Because when you're a jury, you have to decide the case just on the evidence in the courtroom. And you got to put aside any opinions, any...
It'll be tough because I've heard so much stuff about it.
Yeah, and let me follow up on that, because you had a visible reaction when I said put all that aside, almost like you're asking me to do the impossible. That, if I read you correctly...
Yes, it would be tough for me to...
Well, let's ask how tough. And I know it may seem like I'm kind of beating you into a certain position, but I'm not. The lawyers need to know if you can or can't. It's kind of an almost binary situation. And whatever your answer is fine, as long as it's honest.
Honestly, no.
You don't
I
think you
can't, but like put either side of view to the side.
Okay, and do you think what you've heard and the opinions you've formed probably bias you towards one side?
Probably.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say which side. I'm sure that you know on the questionnaire.
Sure. But do you think that's going to, because of the amount of information you have and the opinions you might hold, that you really can't be fair and impartial in this case?
Honestly, I'll be just too nervous right now. So, and that's the truth.
Okay. Yeah, this is kind of a nerve-wracking situation, even in normal situation. Except for those of us who live in the courtroom.
Right.
People coming in for jury duty and witnesses, it can be kind of a nervous experience. Is it more of the nerves, or you just don't feel you can put aside all the information, you know, or both?
Well, it's a mixture of being here, knowing the stuff, and taking too much time out of my work.
Okay.
I can't, you know, you said 4 weeks possibly.
Right.
That's a lot of time for me. I don't make much money, so.
Okay, and are you getting paid?
Huh?
Are you getting paid while you're in jury duty? By your employer, that is.
I don't know.
Okay.
I said I possibly could be selected, but I've been told more than that.
Okay, have they indicated, like, do you know what company policies are?
I don't know. They
Okay.
never said anything to me.
All right. I'm just going to briefly consult with the attorneys, and we'll get right back to you. Hold on. You can still stay right here. Sir, I'm going to release you. I think given, you know, the financial situation you're in, I don't want to mess with your life that much on a long trial, but also the fact that you've got some pretty firm opinions. So thank you for taking the time and for your honesty. You can give that paperwork to the deputy when you go.
All right.
Have a good day. You're completely released from jury service.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, Murphy's Law, when we release too many, this happens. So I hate to waste a good hour or so of court time, but it is Friday, and so we'll go on any further. Anything else that we need to address before we go? We made a record of the stipulated cause. I've talked to you about whether or not about having people self-identify for themselves on the record as opposed to be us just providing it from jury records. So, oh, correct. No, the only thing that, and I only do that because I know the media has been, and appropriately so, reporting on the makeup of our jurors' age and racial identity. And to some extent, it's been the observations and some guesses being made. And I think it's more appropriate that they have accurate information. We would only be talking, and what our plan was to only release how the person self-identified in the jury record and also the decade of their age. For example, if they're 20, 20s. If they're 22, 20s. 29, 20s. Nothing more. No low 20s, just 20s, 30s, 40s, etc. So, if you want to think about that until Monday, if there's a better way, or if maybe I shouldn't be doing it at all, I just think accurate information is better than inaccurate information about what we're doing today. So, I think I need you near a microphone of some sort. No?
Your Honor, I was going to say, from the state's perspective, I think some transparency in this process is a good thing. And so we're not going to object to either self-identification or just simply the release of how they self-identified in the survey if seated.
Right. I think it is an appropriate, Floyd, your question, if there was a group to ask that question specifically. I think the concern by St. Paul may be that I'm releasing something out of a jury record. So we're just going to consult with them. And I think getting the information out appropriately, following all the appropriate rules and that would be important. But just if anybody had any views about the whole idea. So we aren't leaving people guessing, but being transparent about what's going on here. All right, since we have no video of any of the jurors. All right, with that, I think we're in recess until 8 a.m. Monday when we can argue those other matters. All right, everyone have a good weekend. See you Monday.
All right, what did I miss? That was quick. Turn this off. Well, I have my webcam on. That's what I moved around last night, talking to drunk uncle. What did I miss, guys? Why are my glasses tinted in here? That's weird. I don't know why my glasses are tinted right now. So what's up, everybody? Alright, I'll just have to use them tinted, I guess. Are my glasses always tinted when I'm in here? I don't think they are. No, they gave me a scooter that's not as... It's bigger than mine, but it doesn't have the pneumatic tires, so it's going to be bouncy, and it doesn't have the shocks like mine. But what this guy said is what they're going to do is, he is going to try and talk them into just buying me a replacement scooter. So that will be cool if he does. And yeah, we got one. When I was here, we got one juror for sure. I don't know how many in total. So, but yeah. So hopefully I get a new scooter. What did I miss? What did I miss? Yeah. Let's see. You want to see the new scooter? I'll take a picture of it later on and we'll show it to you. Because I got a lot of eBay work to do. Drinking my water. Because Johnny Yuma called me today and talked to me about what I'm eating. And actually, I have to go to the grocery store and get the kind of salads and the stuff that Johnny Yuma wants me to start eating. So I got to go do that right now, too. Panda, will you stop growling? Oh, you're laying next to Donnie's pushing on her. Make a video of me rigging it up, solar powered. You guys are just being little brats right now, aren't you? I can't wait till Donnie gets his last shot, then I can start taking him around with me. Oh, Brownie. So how is everybody doing today? What's up, Snooks? You just missed the end of the trial. Oh yeah, what happened with the George Floyd thing? I missed the rest of it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting green beans, mushrooms. What else? We talked about so much stuff. But yeah, Johnny is definitely hooking me up. We talked for about half an hour today. And I guess no more chocolate milk for me. No more soda and alcohol, which I was already planning on stopping. And he told me he can get me to lose quite a few pounds in the first couple weeks just by water weight alone. Apparently, he says I'm holding in a lot of water. And then what's up, Snooks? If I didn't say hi already. And then, but yeah, so he already told me I have to. Good thing I have my eBay scale. I got to start measuring the meat and stuff like that. Yeah, he said no white bread. I've got a whole bunch of pastrami meat. I got to stick it in the freezer until I can at least get back down to the weight I want to be at, kind of, you know. And what else? I don't know. Oh yes, cucumbers. I love cucumbers, right? What they do is they take what my Hispanic culture does around here. I guess they do it everywhere. But you take the cucumbers and you slice them up, and then you squeeze lemon on them, and then it's this stuff called tajin, Tajin, and then you just eat them like that. It's really, really good, very good. So at least I can do that. What else did he say I can buy? Oh, he told me I got to get oatmeal, but it has to be a certain one. I can't just eat meat, but Johnny has a specific diet plan that he's gonna write for me. That's why, like, today he told me to eat regular, and he wants me to write down everything I'm eating so I can give it to him so he can slowly, so he doesn't like shock my system or something like that, I guess. But yeah, he's gonna have a whole entire written plan out for me, which is cool. Johnny Yuma's the best. And so what we're gonna do is, starting tomorrow when I wake up, I'm gonna weigh myself, and we're gonna start doing this every single day. I have to weigh myself, he said, after I go to the bathroom when I wake up. See there, now my glasses went back to normal. So we're gonna weigh myself, and he says I should be able to lose 30 pounds in 2 weeks just by the water weight that I'm holding in or something like that. So, oh, you guys heard Jackie, or did you see him? Hi, Jackie. Oh, Papa. Oh, old man. You're my old guy, aren't you? My little Jackie. You see Panda's nose in the middle. Here comes Donnie. Look, so you can see Donnie's almost as tall as Jackie now. Donnie. So, well, no, you can't. His head's not popping in there. But Donnie's only about this much shorter than Jackie. So, there's the kiddos. Oh, Jackie. Oh, Panda Bear. Hi, Donnie. I need like 6 hands for all the dang dogs I have. Oh, they ran out of jury members to interview? Number 2. Anyways. Potatoes, I don't know. Oh, chamoy sauce. Yeah. Tahini is the stuff I always use. Tahini is the stuff that we always use normally. But yeah, Johnny's gonna put me on a strict diet. And so I am only gonna listen to Johnny right now because it's Johnny's plan. Not saying I don't trust you guys, but I'm gonna stick with Johnny's plan only. Oh, 3 to 6 pounds. Put ice in your water jug if you drink more water. So, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I wonder if Tara's still on. Tara was on earlier. You guys want to see what Tara's doing with her dad? Let's see. Nope, she's not on anymore. She was just talking with her dad. We'll say that for later on. We're gonna get some stuff. I guess I need to turn my mic. I always turn it towards the speaker for you guys. They should move the trial. What's that gonna do, Snooks? I mean, everybody knows. Everybody's seen this trial. I mean, people in other countries seen this trial. So, or not the trial, but seen the events that took place. What's up, Donnie? You want to come say hi to everybody? Come here, big boy. Come on. All right. Let's see if I can lift your ass up. This is the monster. Hey. What's up, monster? Oh, Papa. He is. He's a good boy. Is he getting... I mean, can you believe how huge he is? He's not even 4 months old yet. Huh. He is going to be a beast. Aren't you? So I'm going to be a big old monster. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention to you, Brownie. Go get Brownie, Donnie. There you go. I emailed Eddie could get a jury. Okay, come on then. You want to come up and say hi to little brat? No, come on. You know I don't like it when you lick the face. Here, just say hi to everybody. Say hi. Say hi, everybody. All right, get down, Brownie. No. All right, you can give me a kiss on the cheek. That's it. There you go. Now get down. Get down. Come on, get down, Brownie. Get down. Go. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I got to get back. I got to go find this oatmeal Johnny wants me to get for breakfast. I got to buy some bananas. And I got to buy... Oh, my... He just totally just laid on top of everybody. I got to get my spring salad, the special salad dressing that he told me that I could get. And, oh my gosh. I'm going to be texting you, Johnny, because I'm going to have to ask questions about which salad dressing that was again that you want me to get. I guess no more blue cheese salad dressing for me. Yeah, my pups love me, huh? You guys love Daddy, huh, Panda Bear? Come on, then. You can come up. Come on. Come on, sweetheart. Come on, Panda. Come on, sweetheart. She's real gentle when she jumps up. Come on. That's why I wanted to make her a service dog, but she just doesn't want to go in the truck anymore, huh, Panda Bear? Hi, sugar. All right, guys. Penelope's cool. She's in the back. I haven't checked on her yet. I gotta go feed her right now. In fact, come on. Okay, now you're getting heavy. Okay, only on the side. No, only on the side. Panda needs to go on a diet. Look at how big this chick is getting. She's a border collie. She shouldn't be this big. Sugar, you need more weight though. You're a pit bull. You guys haven't seen Sugar in a while. Here's Sugar. Say hi, Sugar. We rescued Sugar from a pit bull fighting ring. Brownie, yeah. The guy that showed up to drop off the scooter, he said, he's like, it's always the little dogs that try and bite me. It's always the little dogs. So I like the big dogs. But Donnie's messing with them too. All right, guys, so I'm going to go. I'm going to take a shower real quick, head to the store, pick up my goodies that Johnny has me picking up. But the scooter guy said, yeah, he's all, I'm going to write up everything that's wrong with your scooter. They don't know the difference. Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't say that. Never mind. What am I talking about? But he said the damage already that was done from the airlines was pretty bad. And it's going to cost quite a bit of money. So he thinks that they'll probably buy a new scooter. Or an equivalent. He said $1,000 scooter, but I want the same scooter. Because I paid more than $1,000 for that scooter. So, alright guys. I will be back on in 4.5 hours. We'll be doing our live show. So we'll see you guys then. Because I got to get to the shower and to the store. See you guys. And if anybody needs meal prep, Johnny Yuma's here to help you guys out. I'm sure he'll make you a hell of a deal. So